We are live. All right. Thank you so much for getting on the podcast. I am to be very honest, I was looking forward to this actually since COP25.
Oh, wow. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Because I always have this imaginary list in my head when when I meet people, like, oh, that would be so much fun to have that person on a podcast, and there's deep dives, long conversations, and um, obviously, pandemic happened, and I had to do other things. But now I'm picking up these long form conversations again.
Mm.
It's not that I have been looking forward to this for weeks, but actually for months. Actually, no pressure at all. I don't want to put any pressure on you. But thank you so much for how are you doing? I like life, pandemic, obviously. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm just fine. Just fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, life is great. I can say that the pandemic has. We don't see that here up here. you know.
obviously, yeah.
No, we don't have the lockdown, so life is great actually.
Lucky you. Seriously, lucky you. Like I'm in a what's Amsterdam, obviously, and we have full lockdown and a curfew as well. So after 9 p.m., no one is allowed outside. But yeah, I don't actually want to talk about it because it's already frustrating how everything is going on. And
Yeah, I
um,
understand.
yeah,
Hmm.
so it is, yeah, pretty. All right. So for people that don't know, COP25 was in Madrid,
Yeah,
end of 2019, and
it was supposed to be in Santiago.
was supposed to be some. What were you? Because I remember at one point we were at the caucus meeting, and I you walked in with like cameras and everything else,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
and were you? Because that was in Madrid. Were you already planning on going to Madrid, or like were you already planning to go to Santiago, or
Yeah,
did you go
we
to?
were
All right,
planning to go to Santiago.
and because there was a lot of cameras with you, um, and I yeah, just explain to people like what you were the reason why you went to Santiago. Oh, no, it's not Santiago. Why you went to COP25?
um, it was because of I'm in the reindeer husbandry. My family is, and our district is fighting against this copper mine, uh, and the case is really big. So there was this documentary team who contacted me because they were interested in the case, and they are actually making a documentary about our family and our reindeer husbandry,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously me then. So and they wanted to come with me to COP25 because obviously the climate change action
Right.
was a big case in 2019,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know.
So can you explain a little bit more about that case? Because I think not a lot of people know how the case went. Um, and I think it sets the context a little bit more about like why you went to COP25.
Yeah, well, I'm also working at the Sámi Parliament, and obviously the Sámi Parliament in Norway are engaged in these cases with reindeer husbandry against extractive activities in the Arctic and Sámi areas. And it was actually through my job at Sámi Parliament and as a member of my reindeer husbandry district, Fjetter, we tried to cooperate it somehow so I could actually go to COP25,
Hmm. Right.
and it came a reality that way.
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember at the meeting, you walked in, and I was I recognized your sister,
Oh, yeah.
right? Because I knew your
Ragnhild.
sister. Yeah, Reniel. So
Mm.
I was like, "This is she looks like a lot like Reniel." So I texted your sister like, "I think there's this doppelganger over here. Like I don't know what's going on, but like it is. She looks exactly like it." So I said like um, almost like stalker wise. I sent her a picture of you. Like, all right, this is.
I got that picture.
You got the picture too.
Yeah, I got it from my sister. And I was like, "What? How did you get that picture?" So
Yeah, yeah, it was.
after a month,
Yeah,
she told me it was you.
yeah, and probably I had to tell you as well that it was me. Otherwise, it would be a really
Yeah.
weird thing to do, taking a picture
Mm.
like stalker wise, and then not say anything. Uh, but yeah, so that was my first impression, and then you did a lot of things at COP25. You did
Mm.
it was um, also like it is like I always measure people's when people go to meetings like cops um, the amount of work that they do, and
Mm.
I always measure that by like always walking around, and then you there was there were a lot of indigenous peoples, but not many people were really like doing a lot of work, so so you were doing a lot of things, and I've also heard a lot of things, obviously. So yeah, was it helpful to you, and was it your first comp, by the way?
Yes, it
Mm.
was. It was my first cup. Um, and obviously, I had our case, reindeer husbandry
Yeah, yeah.
case. So I had a lot of meetings because of that. And also, I was a part of the Norwegian, what do you call it again?
Delegation.
Yeah, no, no,
Hmm.
no.
Oh,
The
sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, a part of the Norwegian delegation for um, the extractive activities. So I have a lot of meetings. It was
Yeah.
running, and actually, when I think about COP25 now, it's like I'm still seeing these faces, and I didn't meet her, but
Mm.
how? What was the what? I can't remember the occasion. So yeah, it was a lot of faces to recognize, and I'm really bad at remembering names. So I can only see the face, and it's like, I know, I know him, or I have seen her before, but I just,
Right.
yeah, you know.
Hmm.
So it can be a little bit embarrassing in other situations because I can say like hello, and then again, who are you? Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I had this once, um, well, several times actually, at in Madrid. There was one person, and I always ran into that person at random times, and like the opposite. What that person was the opposite way, and he always said, "Oh, we need to talk. I'll talk to you later. I have to go." Okay.
Mm,
So every time that we ran into one another, because I'm on my way to a meeting, and he is on his way to a meeting. He something else says something along those lines. I need to talk to you. Yeah. Let's catch up. I'll send you a text. I thought, all right, cool. Waiting for the text the whole day, nothing,
mm,
absolutely nothing. And then the next day, he sent another. I ran into like in the evening, ran into him again from I was walking to a meeting, and he was walking to some place, and he says, "Oh yeah, I got your text. Thank you so much. We'll talk later." I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who you're texting. I don't know who you think I am, but I'm not the guy. So I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll just let it go. And that went on for weeks, for 2 weeks. Like every time I ran into him, like it was the whole that whole confused. I was so confused. Like, all right, who do you think I am? At the end,
did you ask him at any point?
No, because I was about to ask him when I got a text from from the Secretariat of the UNFCCC, and they said, "Did you know that you have a doppelganger walking around at COP?" Like, seriously? Yeah, like there's someone that looks just like you. I'm like, all right, who is it? So they sent me a photo of that person, which is, at least I would say, like, looks nothing like me. Like, there's no resemblance whatsoever. I have hair on my head. That guy is bald. All right, we both are have dark skin. I'm from the Pacific. He's from India. So like it's totally different. But like everyone thinks that I'm that guy, and so and that guy is an important person within the UNFCCC Secretariat. So I'm like, okay, so that was quite well, not haha funny, but it was like, so that's why this guy was always like, wow, we need to talk. I'll talk to you.
Of course.
Never spoke to the guy ever again afterwards. Or never seen him again. But yes, because I was really waiting on to like looking forward to telling him, all right, hey man, thank you so much for. I know COP is crazy. Thank you so much for reminding me of meetings that I don't know that are happening and texting and telling me that you're texting me, but I'm not that guy. Like I'm not. Thank you so much for the compliments, flattering. But I'm not the person.
But I can tell you that it happens a lot with me and Ragnhild as well. But we are sisters, so I don't know if it's more disappointing or, But there are always people coming and saying, "Oh, hello, how are you?" And I'm like, I haven't seen you before. Who are you? So I talked to Ragnhild last week or 2 weeks ago, and she told me she was at this store, and there was a girl who said, "Oh, hello, how are you doing?" So the first thing she had said, "I don't think you know me. Maybe you know my sister." Okay, maybe. Who are you? My sister is Inga Anne Karen. Oh yeah, I thought you were Inga Anne Karen. So I think she's more. I should take that from her. I should take it from the start. I'm not Ragnhild. Just step it. I'm Inga.
Did you ever think of how should I say it? I'm not saying make use of the people that people are mixing you up, as in like confuse people, family maybe or friends. Did you ever do that?
No, our family, we are not actually that similar at all. So it's only strangers,
right?
If I can say so. Yeah, who will mix us up, but. When we're for like 10 years ago, we could have some fun, but not now anymore.
Not anymore. Like you just cannot walk into your office. So
it was much funnier earlier.
Because you're with the Parliament right now, and Reynold is with. Remind me, because we would try to keep in touch. But obviously, she's a much more busy person than I am. So, is it your whole family? Is it like a very active activism? Sámi rights, Sámi people yeah, how should I say it? Representing or protecting the Sami people? Is that something that runs in your family? You think, according to
Uh,
you, of course.
yeah, of course. It is. It is. Yeah. Our father, he has always been talking about these issues, and obviously we are a family who have been discussing all the time, like forever. I can remember we have been discussing cases, and you know, just I think that's an important part uh, from my childhood
Mm,
to discuss to get able to discuss important issues with elders, and obviously our parents and other family members.
hmm
That's a kind of value that I I hope that every child gets, because you in that way you will be able to analyze. You will be able to see from different perspectives in such an early age.
hmm
So I think that has been something. But nowadays, you were asking me for how active we are. Well,
Well,
uh,
not exactly how active, as in terms of are you more active than this person or that person? Like, it is. Um, it is. You see throughout the indigenous world
mhm,
that yeah, there's if there's a someone that is doing is in politics or in activism, United Nations, EU, whatever, that is not just the little sister, but it's also like the sibling, the brother, the
mm,
father.
yeah,
So
that's true. Mm,
so like, it just, that's what I gather actually from if I observe the indigenous world, that it's not just 1% of the family, but
mm-mm,
it's something
mm-mm,
that has been now, like you said, like from early age on, like it's been
mm,
discussed at the dinner table, and not
mm,
really like very how would I say, like very technical conversations, like, oh, this is this law, this regulation, that, but it's more about yeah. Can you, when was that described? Oh, like, can you not describe, but as in a conversation? Was it at the dinner table conversation, or just in because for me it was not only dinner table conversation, because it gives people the idea that it was just only at dinner tables, but it was throughout everything. That
yeah,
yeah, you had a conversation about activism, about seeing more things of when you see things of injustice happening, that you all around the world, that you link it directly. All right, yeah, this is happening in our
yeah. We can just be.
communities too.
I can, for example, when we were sitting, or not like the whole family, but if
Mm-hmm.
someone was sitting and watching news, and something came up that could be similar, it would directly be linked to our cases.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you see that one, it's just like over here, and then we will start to discuss, and you know so it's been like that forever, and still uh, I I kind of, the best moments I have is when my parents, my brother and my sister, we are together, and we will talk about things, because those conversations are uh, so engaging,
Mm-hmm.
and gives me a lot. So I'm kind of always thirsty for those situations we can sit down and talk about things and discuss cases, and that actually gives me a lot of motivation, and more and often I'm thinking like, I wonder how they would argument against me now.
Mm.
My family. What kind of arguments would they have?
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
yeah,
And so I'm always curious about these conversations, early childhood. I would assume as well. Um, did that? What was the experience, or when was the conversation that triggered you to go deeper into it, to commit to a certain way? Because you're now in Parliament. Like when did you make that decision for yourself? I was like, I want to do something with it, or I want to be more active in it.
I can't remember any special moment, but it's, it has been, for my family, we have had this cases with the mining, obviously, for the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have power lines right now. And earlier we have had some cases with windmills. So it's so personal, It's my dad, who is over 60 years old, and, he can't manage how to use internet and emails,
Mm-hmm.
and, so it kind of, I just felt that I'm responsible as a member of this family, as a member of our SIDA. We just work together to find solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
just, it's a surviving of our reindeer husbandry.
yeah.
That's mainly why
Why you
I'm
do what you
on.
do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Can you explain a little bit what SIDA is? I know what it
Ah,
is, but like I can
yeah.
imagine some people don't.
In reindeer husbandry, we are like groups together, and it's the extended family. My father and his brothers are working together, so it's like my grandparents' children and grandchildren is one SIDA for my
Mm-hmm.
part. So it's always like a cooperation of family. That's a
Mm-hmm.
SIDA. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. There's, 'cause there's I read somewhere someone argued in a positive way
Mm.
that the SIDA is what can be described as the traditional indigenous governing structure of the Sámi.
Yeah,
Do you agree? Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah. You
Because
know,
yeah.
in reindeer husbandry, we have like it's not the traditional leadership. It's more like a, how can I explain it? More like a horizontalic leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yeah.
herders who are taking care of the reindeers right now are the ones who are the bosses for how they will herd the next few days and weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it doesn't depend on your age, or but that's because you are the one herding. So, and the whole family are like working together to 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 manage the herding of the SIDA.
Yeah.
So that means that either you are on the mountains by the herd, or you are back home, you have always some issues you are taking care of for our seed, for the community of the people.
Yeah.
So yeah, you will always feel like a important member.
Mm.
Mm. So we are, in that way, we are uh, engaged to each other somehow. If you understand, how can
Right.
I
I
explain?
definitely. Yeah.
Mm.
And I think it's fascinating because you have the in the Sami context you have the Sida obviously,
Mm.
and then as a and forgive me for saying this in a very black and white way. You have on top of that you have a layer as in like the Sami parliaments, you know, like you have the or the Norwegian
Mm.
side, Swedish side, and the Finnish side obviously, and I think it's super fascinating for a lot of Indigenous peoples all around the world. Not only the parliamentary system that the Sami have in the respective sides of Sami. So I'm really trying to avoid say like Norwegian side or the Finnish side
Mm.
because it is. I'm trying to say like the other way around. Um, so it is something, and what I've learned throughout conversations with and interviews as well with Indigenous peoples, that a lot of people are looking in a certain way looking up to the Sami, as in as in the Northern Star. I can't believe I just said that. Northern Star, Northern Star
Thank
in
you.
terms of yeah,
It's warming.
it's it was not intended to say it like that. But yeah, as that's what they want to go to, as in
Mm.
being able to govern themselves. Do you um, what made you go into because you're working for the parliament now and
Yes, I'm working in the administration, but I'm not a politician.
politician? No,
No.
definitely not. Because I'm not saying that you are a parliamentarian. You like the work?
Yes, I do. I
Yeah.
do like the work because it's we are kind of, the ones developing the Sami society. So it's giving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I can
It
only
feels important. So that's yeah.
I can imagine it does. You know, like it
Mm.
is that looking at, for example, for my Indigenous peoples, that a parliament is something that we can only dream of because we have our own traditional governing system, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
um, but having something that is so recognizable because that's when once not only do the Sami when they go to the UN recognize because of the Gakti, obviously, um, but also like the parliament. It's something that people it's an aspiration for a lot of Indigenous peoples. So I can imagine that like you can do a lot of good for the Sami, and not just as a politician, but like a honest opinion. I think the people that are working in as in like the operational side of things are maybe even more important than parliamentarians because they you don't have to say anything about it because I know just how I think about things. Because they get to, they have to operationalize whatever decisions that are made. Um, wow, like
It's
yeah.
it's really interesting to hear your thoughts.
What? Yeah. As is it's well, all right. Let's flip it for a brief second. What did you think actually? Like, what do you expect from what how I how I would think or because I'm always interested in how people perceive me or what I say.
No, but I mean, like, I can't, I can't know how the perspective from other indigenous societies is when they look at the
Hmm.
Samis,
Yeah,
because I'm in the middle of it and I have always been here,
yeah,
and it feels like um sometimes I feel like the Sami society is somehow still back there, and we should have been able to reach these and these goals
Mm-hmm.
already, and we're
Yeah.
like not there yet. But then again, we have managed to do so much in
Yeah.
just last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So much development for the Sami society. So it's a little bit difficult to understand how it looks like outside, if I can say so.
Right. Oh, okay.
Mm,
Yeah. And I'll get it. Yeah. There are two reigning thoughts. No, no. I won't say reigning thoughts. There are two thoughts. One is what I just now described as in the Sami being having a parliamentary systems. You know, also known as a parliamentary council as well, or at least building it. Um, so there's a lot of people in these people that are looking to that as inspiration, as a model, as in like, wow, this is something that this pie in the sky. This is what we want to achieve as well. And there was a time, I don't hear that now as much as I heard it like a couple of years ago.
mm,
That was when indigenous peoples were uh, some indigenous peoples, because this is definitely a minority within the indigenous movement that saw the Sami as with a lack of a better word, and these are not my words, but these are the words that people use to describe the Sami as sellouts,
mm,
um, for reasons beyond my comprehension, obviously, because it is trying to judge a people's without knowing the full context of of a peoples in general.
mm,
Doesn't matter if it's Sami, Mosquito in Honduras,
mm,
or whatever. It is. I think that is a problem once you start
mm,
judging other people's or people's aspirations based on your own perspective, based on your own perception, and that's what I gathered from this minority, this group of indigenous peoples that saw the Sami as a sellout or they labeled the Sami as sellouts. I don't. Maybe it has something to do with, and by all means, comments on it in any way, shape, or form if you want. Um, there was. I remember that there was a someone said it, because um, this the Sami did receiving funding from the governments, whereas other indigenous people did not receive funding from governments and everything else. Um, and once people just sell that actually they're selling it.
mm, mm,
Um, to me, the first thing the first thought in my mind is you're an asshole because
mm,
part of my language, because you are, like I said, you are judging peoples for, um, you have this, they're projecting something on an ideal image on the people that they want to be themselves, um, and to see other indigenous peoples do it or thrive in a way, and they get judgmental. We're like, oh yeah, you guys are sellouts because you're doing this, you're doing that. So those were the two. If I would have to like put it in numbers, it would like 95% was Sámi, you're great when you do the yoik and everything else. You guys are doing amazing. Um,
yeah.
now, like, in terms of international politics, like really have to, hats off to the Sámi, definitely. Um,
Mm,
and there's this small minority, like 5%, even less than 5%, actually, that sets something, as we're basically being assholes. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah, but in a way, I can kind of understand if you are indigenous in a country with 30 million other the minority is so small, and the governments will never kind of care for the indigenous peoples, and we are kind of lucky that we are in Scandinavia because of the democratic governments. And obviously, in Norway, we have wealth. Uh, I don't think it would be the same situation if we didn't have if Norway didn't have oil, you know. So it's kind of Norway made an example for Sweden and Finland in that way, and how they are how can I say taking the Sámi serious.
No,
Yeah, I will.
yeah,
But of course, we have still a lot to fight for,
and that's really
and that's
good idea. Yeah.
the problem, because we have the funding from the government, but still we don't have really access to make our it's kind of difficult, especially online.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah,
I
but
totally understand what you're saying.
mm,
Yeah,
but there are issues we still need to work for,
yeah.
even though it seems like we are in a lucky situation because of the money from the government. But well, it's not everything that it's really important to have a word in the saying.
Mm-hmm. No, it is what people do not see. Like people only pay attention to the optics of things, like how things
Mm,
look like
mm,
the obvious things. Oh yeah, they're funded by the Norwegian government. So they're that's but you don't know what's going on like inside Sámi. You don't know what's going on, what they have to deal
mm,
with.
mm,
These peoples, and not just the Sámi, but like in these peoples in general, they're dealing with so much shit that you can't even comprehend as an outsider, like
mm,
what's going on. So like, who the hell are you to judge other people's just because they accept funding from a government? It is. I heard um, a very smart guy from Aotearoa, New Zealand, Maori,
mm,
and he said it very. And something that he said was that I keep. Tahuya Bill Hamilton said it. He said, "We want your money." So, like in terms of your government, we want your money. As in these people, we want your money. We want your capacity. You want your political influence. We want everything except for your permission.
mm,
So basically, what I want to say, like you guys have been. It's the least that a or like this what a government should do because of historical
mm,
injustices, is
mm,
to compensate, is to lend political will, political capacities, and invest politically in to make sure that what the Sami people want that they also get, um, as much as possible, but not like hang it above people's head as a bag of money, or as in terms of to limit self determination, or
mm,
like because there's what's and I think what I'm gathering from what you're saying and other indigenous peoples are saying is that like that's what you want to go to, like being able to do what you want to do, and just making use of the resources available to that. It is. I can imagine that uh, um, being a little bit nah, I won't say called inside, but like knowing a little bit. And I don't claim to know the whole everything within the Sami community. I know a little bit, but enough to know that there's more to it.
Yeah, of
There's more
course.
to it
Mm.
than the optical side of things, than the and people also need to understand, like, and what is it that, yeah, not is it, but that the level of support, funding wise, political wise, is different across the countries, right? It's not
Yeah,
just,
it's different, of
yeah.
course. And uh, the Sami parliaments are also in different, how can I say, on different levels. And the Norwegian Sami parliament is obviously the biggest. And well, in some areas, or how can I say, um, we have a lot influence, and in other we have nothing to say, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's what a lot of people don't know either, because
Mm.
they see they see Ali Keskitalo,
Mm.
current president of Southern Parliament in Norway. They see her. They see Thomas Aslak Juuso. They see Perolo Muti from the Swedish side,
Mm.
and they see three presidents. But that's what the only thing they see. They don't see, like you said, like the different levels, and they don't
Mm.
see beneath the surface. They don't see,
Mm.
like, it's they only see what they don't see what they want to see. It's like online things. You only look, you only see what you want to see. Like, you only get what you
Mm.
want to get when you go. So it is. Um, I don't know. Is it? Um, it has something to do with because this with current world being primarily online, and only judging people by what they post, what they
Yeah.
do not post. I don't know.
Yeah, the online world.
You like it?
Well, of course there are benefits, but in the
There's a
other
but.
hand, yeah, there's a but. I
Mm,
kind of have this frustration over people are always online.
okay.
So it can, in some situations, it feels like there is a pandemic of online addiction.
Nice. I could write that down.
Yeah, so I would really encourage everyone to just log off more often and do some thinking by yourself.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, because of course you always get so many perspectives on social media, in newspapers, in Netflix, whatever, wherever you are
Hmm.
online. um, but in the end, it's so important to actually think for yourself and kind of make your own
Opinion about things. Yeah.
opinion about things, and
Hmm.
somehow get yourself in action for your opinions.
Mm.
And that, I think, the constant online situation makes you a bit I don't know, stuck. with your opinions, and uh, people don't actually understand that all that networking or whatever isn't going to make you all the way. Yeah, of course you can get it. You can get so far, but that little, you have to do it for yourself. You have to
Yeah.
do something to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Like online, it only gets you so far. But like the last parts, the most important part, I would say, the face-to-face interaction. Like this is face-to-face, but not as face-to-face as actually being in the same room.
Yeah.
That is the most important part. To build connection, relationship, and then that is what's like people. And the problem with online right now, the internet right now, is you get what you look for. So you always like. So if you want to find something that about, I don't know, something negative. If you want to find out
Just
something
Google
negative, Google it, and you will find something negative. And Google is so smart that it thinks, all right, you want to find something negative, so I'll give you everything that's negative in the world.
Yeah, of course.
So you're staying in a circle. Same thing with information. Learning things. Like if people think, well, in a way, it is good because you can get what you want. As in, like if you go on YouTube and you type something in, chances are there's a video about, I don't know, how to ski with one leg, for example. I don't know. Like there should be a video on it, or as crazy as how to make a monkey ski. Like
I think someone has tried that.
Chances are there's a video on YouTube, or even a tutorial on YouTube on like how to do that. So you'll always get what you want, and
exactly
that is a good thing. But it's also a bad thing, because if you want to learn something, like for example politics or situations of certain things, if you only look for something, if you only get what you're looking for,
you will never get challenged.
Right. Your opinion will not be challenged. You will not get the other side of a opinion or a position, and I think that is and people just keep scrolling, and obviously you only get to see what you want to see. But you're not getting to see, like, all right, so, well, hold on, this is what the other side thinks or wants said on I don't know, on something, on the Sámi, for example. Like, this is what other people say. Like, and I think that is the danger of it, that we only stay within our narrow vision, or get to stay within our own narrow vision of, this is what you get. This is and this is what I'm comfortable with, because you're only here and get to get things that Google thinks that you like, and you only like negative things. You only get negative things. So that is, oh man, yeah, that is one problem with the internet that I'm very conscious of, aware of right now, like in the use of internet. People underestimate the long-lasting impact it can have on opinions,
exactly,
families, everything.
Yeah, it's like
I can sense the frustration with you.
Yeah, there's a lot of frustration. And I really shouldn't go in there, because that conversation can last for hours. for hours.
We have a little bit of time though. No, but set it on your mind. I would love to
but you
hear
know,
that.
if I can just have a conversation with my grandfather, who is 80. I can't even remember, 87 years old, something
Mhm.
like that. And he obviously he don't have any social media account,
Mhm.
or and he barely speaks Norwegian. He only speaks Sámi.
Yeah.
But I can get so surprised about how much he has been, um, analyzing and thinking about things, and he almost have a thought that is ahead. Whatever you find on the internet, he's like
Mhm.
ahead of that. It's like, yeah, I've been thinking about that too, but have you wondered? He's always challenging your thoughts more
Mhm.
than any website do.
Yeah.
And I think that's because he has always been in situations where he actually have been thinking for himself and discussing with other people who maybe are who don't share his opinions. And when you once get that skill, you will be so skilled,
Yeah.
and you will always find a way through the discussions or any, yeah, the solutions will be so clear if you just use your own thinking from
Yeah.
your own head. It's the answer. There are so many answers.
Yeah. But it's so crazy, right? Right? Like the convenience of this thing
Mm.
of, oh, I don't know,
And this
I'll
is
just Google
even
it.
more crazy. I got two.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
I know.
I already have difficulties like maintaining one, let alone two. But yeah, it is. The convenience is something like, because in that sense, I'm really envious of your grandfather, as in um, like he's still in this state of mind of, all right, let me think about it. Whereas
Mm.
we, or not we, but like the rest of the world, the younger generations, and the vast majority of it, say like, oh, let me Google it.
Mm.
Totally different. And
Mm.
the funny thing is, if you look carefully enough, I think just my how I think about it. If you look carefully enough, you will get to the same conclusion as your grandfather.
Mm.
The only thing is, yeah, you'll have to like type it in, Google it, and then, but like, it is so much. There's a lot to say for the convenience of it, but um, I think once, yeah, it can be detrimental to the use of our brains and our emotional intelligence, or like just normal intelligence, um, if we don't use it more often, as in like thinking
Mm.
and having just normal conversations. I think that can help a lot. It is,
Yeah, it does.
instead of instead of reading
Or
up on
whenever
things.
Instagram or Facebook is getting boring, just get out, go for skiing, take a walk, you know,
Yeah.
because there are perspectives
Mm.
you won't see in any other place on this earth except from outside your house.
Yeah, because in
And
a
if you,
way, yeah.
yeah, and of course, if you, how can I say that? It's like with the internet and the online world, you kind of forget to stay in the situation or the present or whatever. And you have so much resources or perspectives around you that you can use for your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I 100% understand. Even though I post a lot of things on the internet in terms of work rights and everything else. Um, I 100% understand that um, going through those platforms, like as long as possible, Instagram or whatever, it is kind of staying within your own bubble.
Mm.
As in, like you're staying within it. I'm always asking myself. I always ask myself, what am I looking for?
Yeah.
Like, what am I looking for when I go when I scroll on Instagram or TikTok? Well, TikTok can be addicting. So
I
I
have never
really have.
tried. I don't know.
Ooh, says it is super dangerous. I can be on I can be hours on TikTok. Um,
Mm.
but to get to your point is that um, once you put your head up out of your cell phone, and like, yeah, well, I don't have the luxury of going skiing, but I'll go for a walk. Uh, and yeah, it is different because you get to process things, you get to observe, and you get to process things. And this is a strange thing to say, but I'm thankful to the pandemic, the current situation, lockdown, and everything else, that I go out, intentionally go out. Um,
Okay,
I
that's good. That's
intentionally
good.
intentionally go out. Otherwise, yeah, I just keep working as much as possible,
Mm.
and I just intentionally go out. And I realized recently that um, it gives me clarity. You get clarity of thoughts. You get to process things. Maybe breathing fresh air can help as well. Uh, but it is, yeah, that you almost. It's not saying that I'm not trying to say that you have to like abandon it, but you have to find a balance in it.
Mm.
It's not balanced at this point. People
No,
are so much into the phones, too much
too
into the
much.
phones
Too much.
right
Mm.
now. That,
But
yeah.
but I'm thinking the generation behind me.
Hmm.
Uh, those teenagers now. Okay, maybe they are really addicted to the internet, but but maybe the generation after them will somehow be able to balance themselves,
Hmm.
and they are even more uh, curious about the present and the life offline.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I read a study um, on Gen Z. That's so the generation after. So
Mm.
like we're millennials. So then after this is the Gen Z. It's what they call
Mm.
it. And like their principles, their values in modern society, like how they look at things.
Mm.
And it was quite interesting that yes, they are very much they grow up with social media. They grow up with these
Mm.
iPads,
Yeah.
MacBooks, and whatever in front of their eyes. So they're very much native to it, as in like they can use it to their own advantage. What surprised me the most, well, not surprised me, but what I found as in like what you're saying, like oh thank God, so it's not a lost generation. That they are now so much more into values, and so not much about like so they really care about what's going on in the world. So in that sense, gives me a little bit of hope. That's what it is. Gives
Mm.
me a little bit of hope of, all right, yeah. So that maybe our generation fucked it up a little bit. But
The
that this,
superficial ones.
yeah, like get the blame for everything. We're blamed for a
Mm.
lot of things. At least the generation, not everyone, single one of us. Um,
Mm.
but like it is, yeah, it gives me a little bit of hope that that yeah, that we can come out a little bit better. Actually, the next generation will have it better. I don't know about
Mm.
circumstances though. I don't know like what kind of world they will live in. But at least they have their some sense a perspective that is a value of how a society should be, that gives me more hope than about like what how other people perceived our generation or generation before us.
Mm.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
is, yeah, just a study. Like I don't know why I read the study though, but it was interesting. I read very strange studies. So Gen Z was one. So that's like that's how they
But that
called.
seems
Yeah.
interesting. Uh, Maybe I should go online and look up.
Yeah, but don't go on TikTok because well, you can go on TikTok, but like it is something that at least what I've learned actually with my use of social media is I'm trying to use it as a science and try to use it strategically, which is for me a way so that I don't get sucked into it.
Yeah.
That I don't spend hours
Mm.
on those platforms looking for. It's like a refrigerator, right? When you're hungry, you just keep looking. Oh yeah, there's nothing, and then you walk around, do stuff around your house, and then and you get hungry again, and you look again, but nothing's changed. Like you didn't do anything,
Mm.
but it's
And
kind of
maybe
that,
you're
that kind of
asking
feeling.
yourself either, why doesn't I have anything good in
Yeah,
my refrigerator?
yeah. Like, why didn't I put anything that is healthy in my fridge?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't I put anything? Otherwise, you'll yeah, you'll resort to snacks and unhealthy things.
Mm.
If you're going to play this whole analogy out. Um, so yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
it
online.
is. It's not healthy. I
You,
don't think so.
so in terms of level of frustration, because you were like very frustrated
Mm.
before, like once when we started to have this talk about it like 10 minutes ago. Like it
Mm.
is what frustrates you. Already talked about it, but like what is that frustrates you the most about it?
Um, about the online addiction, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Um, the lack of. Mm, because I have this. I'm just jumping over to another topic.
Sure, yeah.
Uh, um, Especially, I see in the Sámi communities how the traditional knowledge is just
Mm,
we're just running out of traditional knowledge
yeah.
in the younger generations, and partly the online situation with all the youngsters is a part of it, and in a way I know for myself that just I have been so lucky to um, I'm able to do the traditional duchi, that my grandmothers and mother have taken time to actually learn me,
Hmm.
gives me so much. and seeing that that kind of knowledge is just fading away.
Fading away,
Yeah. That's a shame, and that's, I don't know. Somehow we're just losing the identity or whatever, the core.
Right. Yeah, actually that's what it's funny that you started talking about traditional knowledge, because that's what I wanted to get to you, because that's the other side of things, right? It's not the other side, but it's like, yeah, this online presence and everything else, but usually it is to the detriment, or like it, of the knowledge of indigenous peoples, like more this and less of that. At least that's what I'm seeing as well. So that's why I want to ask you, like, what's frustrating. So thank you so much for bringing that up. Is, yeah, because in terms of knowledge, yeah, our knowledge is, yeah, it's something that is part of us as an is our it's part of us as an is our identity, right? It is. It is not just like, as in what a science that you can put something outside of yourself that you're doing that's practical, but like our knowledge is like, it's part of us. It is the way we do things, the way we look at things, and yeah,
and the more you have, the more skilled you are.
Yeah.
And when you're really skilled, then you always will get better results. You know, and that's a shame, because that will, as I see it, 2 generations ahead, they won't be able to manage themselves out in the mountains unless they have GPS and everything, those modern technology, and
So what is, because I remember that you wanted to talk about this, like traditional knowledge. What is something that is concerns you the most? You already talked about, like, is that what concerns you the most? The decrease amongst next generations, or what else?
Yeah, and well, the reindeer husbandry. Who would know? I would talk about that again.
Surprising. That's surprising.
Well, the reindeer husbandry has been practiced by traditional knowledge for generations. And if we are if the traditional knowledge is fading away, that will also the whole reindeer husbandry will somehow be destroyed, or just be a farming, whatever, and that's, and when you get so far that the natural habitats are not who you are, you will also there are so many parts of this. I can't even make that in one whole package to explain. But
can I ask you though, because when it comes to reindeer husbandry, like how does that go? As in what does it all entail? Because I think that's can be very interesting. And also, and then I think by if you explain that, I think people will understand like how much of an influence or elements the knowledge of indigenous peoples is as part of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
what is reindeer hunting? That's like what do you do as a reindeer herding?
Well, yeah, you have a herd of reindeers.
Ah,
Let's get there. Well, and obviously you don't just have it. You somehow have to work for it. So
mm-hmm.
when you're working for it, you will be born. I will be born. Okay, I'm a baby now, and my parents are obviously raising me, um, and by time they will give me some reindeers, so I will get that ownership
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
feeling, And when you have your own reindeers, then you will be more and more interested in how to manage this really important responsibility you have for your own reindeers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when you are born in reindeer husbandry, the whole life will somehow there will always be linked to the reindeer husbandry, whatever you do. And I remember when we were kids, we weren't able to, and in the summer, and summer vacation, we didn't actually travel other places than to the herd
Mm-hmm.
because we were always fixing, fences, and we did have um, the calves should be marked in the summertime or the autumn. So we always have these activities around the herd in
Mm-hmm.
a way. So that's the life. And through the seasons we are moving with the herd. It's migration
Mm-hmm.
from summer areas to winter areas, and that's the circle of life.
Yeah. Right.
It's
Yeah.
always,
Mm-hmm.
and and then you have to be able to um, connect yourself to be, because since you are attached to that already, then you have to get skilled in what you are doing, and you will always, of course, be learning by doing. You
Mm-hmm.
don't there's My father didn't say, okay, now sit down, I will teach you. He didn't say
Right.
that. He was like, okay, here is your knife, try out. And
Yeah.
that's the way we do it, um, and by that we have all this storytelling, you know in between, in every situation, actually. So you just somehow, maybe seems harsh, but you, in a way, you will be how can I say, you will just be brainwashed into reindeer husbandry. Because that's the yeah
Yeah. You
that's
don't know
what
any
it's
better.
all about.
It's all
Yeah.
about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have the income from the reindeer husbandry, and
Mm-hmm.
you have the vacations there when you're a child. I remember I had this girl in my class, and they were traveling to Thailand in Christmas times, and I was like, huh? How can you do that? But shouldn't you also go to your winter cabin? And she was like, no, but I don't have a winter cabin.
Mm.
But how can you? Oh my God! Think about if my parents, if someone came and said you have to go to Thailand now, I would be so um, stressed about that, because then I would have to say to my father, "You can't do that. How about the herd? Have you think about, you know?"
Yeah.
And when you are a child and you are already thinking like that, that means there are some values you are you understand the values that you should take care of, and if you lose those values, you kind of, for generations we have been able to practice reindeer husbandry, and if that will be lost after me, wow, then I'm kind of
and it's
loser.
not, and it's not that there's a lot of Sámi on the world already. Like there's not many
No.
Sámi on the planet. So it is super important right now as a peoples, as a communities, to be able to preserve that, protect that, and that and it's a lot of people, and I think that's why I asked this question, because a lot of people perceive reindeer husbandry as a profession, as a job. But to the Sámi, it's much more than that. It is, by the way that you describe
it's a livelihood.
it's a way of life.
It's not just it's a life. It's your life. It's your whole package. Actually, you have everything in that package of your family funding. Everything.
At what age did you get your first reindeer or reindeers?
Maybe I don't know. As a baby, 3 years. Yeah. I just remember when we had the herd in the fence, and we were supposed to mark the calves, and then my father points out, Inga, can you see that? That's your reindeer. And I'm just a little girl and standing there. Oh my God, my reindeer! Wow. How about that? The white one, is that mine too? Yeah, it's yours. It's yours. Okay. So, and then I will be, then I will kind of start to search for my own special. Because we have these special marks on the ears. Ears.
Not you, but the reindeer, right?
No, the reindeer ears, and then you have your own special mark. And as a child, you will start to search after your mark then, because they're one of those are mine. So which one is mine?
And did you create your own mark? Or is there something that
you have a personal? You have a personal mark.
And you just come up with it, or is it something that goes through a certain, I don't know, pattern or process?
My mark is very similar to my father's.
Okay.
And my sister's mark is very similar to my mother's. So.
Okay.
So the system is like your family has your own. How can I say the big? It's like a theme. You can see. Okay, this mark has to belong to that family.
Yeah. And then you have small changes and your
small
sister
changes.
Okay. Interesting. So your sister has her own reindeer as well?
Yes, she has.
I should get her on the podcast too.
You should. You should.
I'll probably whenever this is done, send her a text that she should get on the podcast too. We finally get to talk again. No, it's fascinating. The whole reindeer husbandry. If you call it husbandry, it's more as a way of life. It's a thing by the way that you
livelihood.
Yeah, it's by the way that you describe it is as much reindeer is as much as a sibling to you as reindeer is a sister to you, because it is part of you.
But I couldn't imagine that I would eat my sister.
Oh, yeah.
I eat my reindeers whenever.
Yes. True. Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah. Uh, I did have reindeer meat though. And
Mm.
it wasn't Karashok, and that was
Oh,
amazing. Yeah, it was. I was in. Yeah, I was mostly in Alta when I was in Sámi, Alta, uh, and then we took a bus drive. It's a long bus drive from Alta to Karashok. Holy shit! At least in my experience,
yeah.
scenery was amazing though.
Not for me. I think that's just,
It's peanuts to you guys, I
yeah,
believe.
it's
It's
peanuts.
nothing. But then again, scenery amazing. And then we stayed at this hotel near the parliament. This
Yeah,
like a small
like a
Sámi hotel.
motel. Yeah.
Yeah, and then outside there was you had to go down somewhere, and some kind of a cabin underneath the snow, and then they served this
Mm.
reindeer meat. It was so good, so good. Yeah, I cannot
Yeah,
imagine
it's
you
really
eating
good.
your sister. Yeah, but
No, I would never do that.
no.
For sure.
Yeah. People, please do not take this seriously. This whole, yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
but we have the reindeers because we slaughter them and we are selling the meat. So that's a big part of the reindeer husbandry. And the situation, of course, now in 2021 is that you have to make your own money to survive. And so that means that the reindeer husbandry has to, because we are also, we have snowmobiles.
sure,
We
yeah,
have it's modern. It's not like we're not skiing. We're not using cross country skiing.
right, yeah, and
Yeah.
snow dogs and everything else. Yeah, no, yeah,
No, we're not there. So there are high costs. So somehow you have to finance yourself.
yeah,
And the one way is to sell the reindeer meat. But if that's not enough, then you have to make the costs lower.
yeah, okay, yeah,
And obviously, we see that it can work if you start to feed the reindeer. People can think that. If you start to feed the reindeer, then you don't have to actually drive out in the wilderness to take care of the herd.
yeah,
But if you put them in a fence and you give them food, of course. But why are you are not doing reindeer herding then? What's that? What's that alive for a living?
right, yeah,
Yeah. And if we see those kind of patterns, because you are so, the only way you can make your money is to sell the reindeer meat, then you should have huge reindeers.
right,
Like, it will be for your benefit if they are 200 kilos, obviously. And you
right,
slaughter one, then you have 200 kilos of meat. But reindeers are grazing naturally out in the wilderness, and we don't feed them.
right,
So we are. It's what the nature gives of food. That's
right, yeah,
how the conditions for your reindeers will be.
yeah,
So, and in this process, if you are looking for a lot of money and you want to have a luxury life, then you shouldn't be in reindeer husbandry because it's not that luxury.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
you won't become a millionaire out of it, obviously, because the way that you describe it. So
Yeah.
yeah, It's more as a life, not livelihood, lifestyle kind of thing, instead
Mm.
of like a job or a profession. That's because
Mm.
yeah, if you want to really make money about it, yeah. I don't think that
And
should be. Yeah.
whenever, if you, I can imagine if you are turning the reindeer husbandry into a job and thinking about it as a job,
Hmm.
then you will also somehow lack, find yourself lacking uh, meaning with life, or how can I explain that? Well, I
Because
haven't been
yeah.
there myself, but
Hmm. Yeah.
I can just imagine that if it feels like a job for you and not a livelihood or a lifestyle,
Yeah.
then you also have to put other things into your life. And what would that be? Because you haven't time for any other things, and then you will be stressed about, oh my god, my life is always a job.
Yeah.
But if you see it
Yeah.
in the other way, it's not a job, it's your life.
Right.
Okay, this is my life, and I have to do that. I have to herd, then I have to fix my snowmobile, then I have to
Yeah.
know how to navigate out in the wilderness, then I have to learn all these things, and I have to recognize my own reindeers. I have to be able to do so much of that. You have to gain yourself so much traditional knowledge to be able to manage reindeer husbandry at all.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, because once you start looking at it as a job, you start looking at it from a commercial perspective.
Mm.
So you would not, so because it's a slippery slope from that. So you start off with like how it should be, as in like using knowledge, the Sami knowledge and everything else. But like instead of like having the reindeer go into the wild, you keep them close together, you feed them, and you start looking at things commercially, and like yeah, then it's are there Sami or non-Sami that are doing something like that? Is that happening right now? Do you know? Is that do you know?
Yeah, somewhere maybe they're trying, but
Mm,
that's not traditional reindeer husbandry.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
But it can, yeah,
but that's not in the picture actually. But that's more like uh, my fear for the future, if
right.
it will go there.
Commercialize,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
commercialize that. Yeah.
in the other hand, um, in all these cases with extractive activity in our areas,
Hmm.
we will often hear those arguments that, well, but the reindeer husbandry, they don't make so much money.
Yeah.
Why should we keep these lands for them?
Mm,
They're not billionaires. So what if they are using those lands? We can make so much values out of the minerals.
yeah.
You know,
Building a
the
little railroad
companies will
track and
say,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, the companies will say those kind of things. And if you sit down and are, going through all the numbers,
Hmm.
uh, of course, it's no doubt the reindeer husbandry would just be deleted.
Yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Like, what's the deal with this whole like infinite growth? Why people keep thinking about things like economically? Like so these lands in Sámi, and it's they use it for the reindeer husbandry so that reindeers can graze. Um, and then the calculation is always, well, yeah, well, we can make more money out of it if we do a copper mine or a wind turbine,
Mm.
build a railroad through the lands, because we make more money out of it. Like when do we all realize as a world community, or as people in general, as a society, that infinite growth, there is no such thing as infinite growth. There's no such thing as always wanting to expand. Like there's sustainability is something that people are using sustainability as a buzzword, but they're not using it. Like this whole
Yeah.
right now, they want to. It's crazy. Sustainability is all about protection, right? It's protecting something that has been working all along for the Sámi, for the reindeer, for the land. So they're protecting it. And now, the only thing that people want to protect, or the government in this case, is growth. So they want to protect growth, financial growth, and it's mind-boggling to me still that deep, how far do you want to go, or how far will things go before people or the planet says it stops right here. And it is something that sorry to segue into this, but it's any thoughts on that?
Yeah, but Ghazali, that's capitalism.
Yeah.
You always need more money to make those wheels.
True.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But is capitalism also? There's a way. Obviously, I'm not going to deny it. Like that, there's capitalism is trying to make money by selling goods
Using
or
money.
using the power of money. Like definitely, I get that. But there's
oh, good. No,
I get that. Yes, I did pay attention in school. For a brief moment in time. So I did pay attention, and yes, it's capitalism, but it is. I don't know. There's a point that a lot of there's you cannot go back anymore. There's a point that
exactly, and I think that every person on this earth can think about what are my own values. Do I actually need that one new, I don't know what you're buying?
Yeah.
Because that's actually the system that holds it together. But if all the people would kind of reduce your own consume,
Right. Yeah.
that will make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People are right nowadays being overwhelmed with things that they need, as in there's advertising has a funny way of advertising has a funny way of telling you your life will be so much better if you have this. If you have the newest iPhone, if you have the newest car or whatever, it's
the red
still
shoes, whatever.
the red shoes that are cost like a gazillion dollars, but they're still shoes. It's still a phone. It's still a car that brings you from A to B. Granted, there's something to
and
say
that's
about
the other
aesthetic.
side of the capitalism. It's materialism.
Yeah.
Because in a way, as I see people kind of build up their own identity by the things they have.
Instead of the things that they don't have.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, instead of, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but, and when you have,
No, so it's a change of perspective.
Yeah, but, it doesn't make you any better or more valuable if you have those things than if you don't have them.
Yeah.
It's always about your character, after all. But you won't get there until you have been buying those things, or you have achieved those, whatever it is you are trying to achieve. So, and after you have gotten to that point, so what?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't actually make any change for your self growth. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
How do you look at this? Is always a topic that fascinates me. Self growth, self awareness. How do you look at it? As in, are you in the process right now, or have you gone through the process? Uh, any thoughts? How you got to that?
Yeah, I think self-awareness is the most important thing in life you have to work for. And I don't know. It feels like, for me, it feels like I'm able to read other people who haven't recognized themselves
Wow.
yet,
Okay.
because you can see those patterns somehow.
Care to share those patterns? What, or is that a secret of?
It's a secret, you know.
Oh,
It's my superpower.
It's your superpower. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Shoot.
No, but I think that once you, it's not a superpower. It's just that whenever you recognize yourself, I think that when I was like from 16 to 19, you know, after obviously we had to move out for high school. So I moved from my parents in my hometown when I was 15 to go to high school. And those years were like, okay, I was still a football player and, you know, sporty and everything. So I would, of course, have those particular football shoes, or, you know, and when you are like 15 years old and just thrown out in the society, you have to start to analyze yourself or whatever, just to find your place, as I guess everyone in that phase are kind of doing. And I guess I was one of the lucky ones who didn't have to jump over to the materialistic lifestyle as I see many others are doing.
Right. Well, good for you.
But I think that it's actually attached to your. This kind of feels like, when I'm saying this, people maybe think, oh my God, are you one of those? but I'm thinking that when you're grounded, when you are attached to nature, or how can I explain that? When you have that contact, then you also are so grounded that you won't go with the flow.
Right.
You have your own standards, your own grounding.
Yeah.
And that is maybe something I got for free in life, because I was born in a reindeer herding family, and we have always been attached to nature and have that contact and have that grounding in that you as an individual are never going to be a superficial power, whatever, on this planet, and nobody should be that person, you know. And whenever you get those superficial needs or thoughts, you will have that grounding in yourself.
Right.
And I can see that if you are always in a hurry from your teenager to a senior, if that's your path in your life, you will also never recognize yourself for that person. You are like the person who you're searching for something and you don't even know what you're searching for.
Yeah. Like,
And
what are
that,
you
I
running
mean,
after?
Yeah, what are you running after? And I see, and I guess I was trying to say that I can recognize that in other persons. Because you don't actually need whatever you're feeling that you need.
Right.
The materialistic needs are not your needs. It's about fulfillment of yourself.
Yeah. I listen to I listen to a lot of podcasts on this because I'm just interested in all that. And maybe, no, not maybe. It is to when I started figuring myself out as well. I think back in early 2017, and I'm very late to the game, 100%. Sort of like trying to become more self-aware. Like I was doubting myself, and now it's almost like you can see when you talk about signals and patterns, is that it's almost as if you're trying to look for something to fill something, like you said, like you just said, outside of you. No, so fill something inside of you with something that's outside of you, and that never is never compatible. It never fixes things. So, and it is, yeah, like, it's almost like you're running after something that think you will fix you, fill that void, fill that empty space, and you keep running after it. But the problem is you think that it fixes it, and once if you get it or if you don't get it, but let's say if you do get it, you will realize that it doesn't fix you. It's almost like you're fixing. You're trying to fix a sink, whereas you have to fix the well. You know, like it is doing all of these superficial things. And it's a lot. What, at least from my own experience, is something that I've realized that by asking myself a lot of questions, actually, questions that I didn't wanted to ask, or questions that I didn't want to hear the answers to myself. And that was kind of a confronting as a mirror, actually. It's like, whoa, all right. And so you just keep on asking questions like, why do you do this? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want this? Do you really want this? And if you dig deeper, actually, and it's people, I sometimes really ask myself, like, how many people today have really know themselves?
Yeah. And especially if you're sitting online all the time, you will never know yourself. If you want to bridge to the hour earlier,
I think it has very much to do with that. As in spending online, either you're looking for the perfect lifestyle, as in like, oh, I want to do that. This idea that it's all out there, that
Mm.
the perfect lifestyle is out there, that you would just,
Mm.
and by the way, and is that authentic? Is that really you, or are you just modeling somebody else's life, thinking
Mm.
that you that's also you? And the other side of it as well is um, what a lot of people do as well is um, throwing up this charade, like, oh, this is my life. Whereas like posting these perfect photos of themselves and food, and if
Mm.
that is their life, fine, like by all means post it.
Mm.
But like you see that a lot of people only post like the good things that are happening, and
Mm.
not the bad things, and that is just a very um how should I say it, unrealistic um, display of your life. It is you're trying to put on a show. That's what it is.
Mm.
You're putting on a show. Like this is, and yeah, I don't know. It is. It has much to do. I very much agree. Online has much to do with um, something that we're lacking inside. It's an expression of what we're lacking inside.
Mm.
And yeah, it is.
And then you have to do some digging to actually be able to fix that.
Wow, and that's painful. That
Mm.
is that is a painful process. Um, at least from my own experience, it was painful for me. As in, not that it really hurts, but it's at least it showed me that I'm vulnerable.
Mm.
As in, I always thought that you have this it's only with self image. You show yourself to the outside world the way that you want the outside world to see you.
Mm.
Um, but it is just a mask what you put on.
Yeah, but of course, I think that that's natural as well, because it's, whenever if you break a leg, you can't sit there and feel the pain and be sad about that. You have to somehow motivate yourself to get positive and heal the
Hmm.
leg.
Yeah.
and and then you have to focus on the positive things, and somehow it probably it's natural to always focus on the positive experiences people have had, the happiness, or those glimpses or sparkle of goodness.
Hmm.
And that's what they want to show the world, because then it feels even better. Then you are kind of on the road to the good spot, or
Hmm. Yeah.
and that's my short analyze of why people don't show the not so charming sides of themselves.
Right.
But it doesn't help for themselves if they're not kind of open to see the vulnerable parts, or whatever is stopping the growth in themselves.
Yeah. It's so. I feel sorry for people that are in constant conflict with themselves,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing how to get out. And then there's a lot of people that are dealing with it all by themselves. I feel very sorry for those people. Like there's a lot of people out there, indigenous people too,
Yeah, of course.
that are dealing with this are not dealing with it. Yeah, they're not dealing with it.
Yeah.
And just and then or when they want to deal with it, they cannot deal with it because there's this whole stigma. This is what there's I don't know how is it in Sámi is in the idea of mental health and is that
it's
that
it's like a taboo,
right?
Been like that forever, but we can see and well, we can see a kind of development, but that I guess that's because the Western society is getting more open, and that influences the Sámi society as well, and that's a really positive thing.
Yeah.
But we have, we have been struggling with suicide in the society, in the communities, and that's a really sad part. But I know also that the professional help is now much better than that it has been for like ever. So Sámi people can have treatment in Sámi language, and
that's good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And everyone who needs that, I really hope they are going to seek for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will just say that out for everyone, whoever is watching, you should do that if you feel that you're lacking for something. And I think that, this is a big problem in indigenous communities all over the world. And even if you're looking at the Sámi community as one of those sell-out indigenous.
Not me though, not me.
Yeah, but I'm not. No, not you. But if anyone thinking about the Sámis that way, even though we have wealth and especially Sámis in Norway have, of course, almost everything is for free for when you are a citizen in Norway. The Sámi community is still like any other indigenous community.
Yeah.
In their, you are a minority in a society that actually doesn't understand anything you're thinking or speaking or
Yeah, it is. I can only speak from my fellow gender, male, for people that don't know it yet. That it is a huge problem. As I said, we're putting on these masks, or we want to put on. Yeah, I think it's this image that is being portrayed on us as in strong guy, strong man, male, hunter kind of thing, and we have to maintain that image. And if you want maintaining that image, that gives no room for vulnerability, feelings, and so that putting in on these masks of masculinity, as I think, this toxic mask of masculinity, I think that is a problem. And I don't think that is only in indigenous communities, but also around the world. Again, I think. And I think that is what's, obviously I cannot speak for a lot of indigenous communities, but like it is one of the reasons that undercurrents that is with people that have a drug problem, alcohol problem, and that goes up until, like you said already, like suicide, and it's um, thank God that that there's um, there's help for people that want to in Sami, and the people can reach out in Sami language. And I think it also attests, it's a testament to, like you said, like those that minority of like 5, maybe 2 or 3% that judges other people based on like just judges Sami by being South, but there's so many things that people don't know, and that or that people like the Sami or in these communities peoples have to deal with, and it is, yeah, like I don't know, like is it a what you think, is it more of a male problem or a female problem in Sami, in Sami land?
Oh,
Yeah, this is a difficult question. I know.
that's difficult because
Yeah.
I think there are uh, maybe the same levels of females and males who have, but you can see different kind of
How it shows.
how
Yeah.
it shows.
Okay.
So you actually can't know.
Yeah.
I think.
No, like that. And but just for clarification, like the moment that I said those words, I was like, oh, that's a dumb question. So it is for people that are watching and listening. Like I apologize for that, because like I don't know why I asked the question though. But it is. Thank you though for talking about it. It is because it is, when you talk about self-image, self-awareness, a lot of people think that it is, yeah, very, how should I, with lack of a better word, feminine, as in,
Yeah. Many people think that.
yeah, that's, oh
I
man,
think.
I'm not a sissy. I'm not like, what do you mean self-image? What do you mean self-awareness? And things could not be further, the truth could not be further from that. Like it goes beyond, like, if you want to call it masculine or feminine, but it is something that a lot of these communities dealing with, and like, man, if you look at on Turtle Island, North America, like it is, when you hear those stories, it is terrible, like the amount of suicides that are happening in tribes that this, that it is a, if COVID-19 is a pandemic, then something like mental health, or like the negative incarnation of that is like a silent murderer. Actually, it's been on the um, in the back, actually killing a lot of people. And I think, I don't know, is it like, there's a lot of things that could be the root cause of it. A lot of people say like it's colonization, and I think colonization has a very big part of it as well.
Yeah. But
Yeah, say it.
for a long time ago, I can't remember where, I read something like there was a person who said that the biggest weakness of the mankind is our awareness and intelligence and feelings. So if you're feeling pressured for being smart or whatever, or you're like running for self-awareness or anything,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's even more important to think about it like, well, you live for once.
Yeah.
Just make the best out of it. It's not that much pressure on yourself. So it doesn't have to be wow happiness or wow super good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and when you can actually be thankful for the situation you have now, that will be enough for you.
Yeah. That's such a good mindset. That's such a good mindset. Because it's not as like we all overthink it, and happiness is can be in the small things, right? And
Mm,
fulfillment can be in the small things. It doesn't have to be like very euphoric and has to be like
mm-mm.
gung ho and very big. You know, it can be in the very small things. And
Mm.
life is too short, you know,
Yeah,
um to
to feel
to
bad
to feel
or
bad about a lot of
sad.
things
Mm.
or do bad things or negative. You know,
Yeah.
it is yeah. Life is too way too short for that. And it's I think
And whatever happened yesterday, okay, that day is not coming back again.
oh
You only have the good days before ahead of you, or the blank days. You can do whatever you want to
mm-hmm.
from
Yeah.
tomorrow, from now, and for the rest of your life. You can do whatever you want to.
That's such a good mindset that you do not hear often in the indigenous world or Sami world. But by Sami world, I mean the Sami people that I've spoken to. Has that? Would you attribute it to your own family thinking process, history? Like, what is something that would that you or a combination of everything maybe that helped you get to that?
It's hard to say. I don't
Mm.
know. It's maybe, whenever I this is a challenging one. Um, it's just who I am. I'm
Good for
just
you.
built this way,
Yeah.
and I can remember. Um, I can remember when I was a child, 12, 13 years old, and my father would say, "Okay, this weekend after school, you can come up to the herd if you want to," and that would be just fantastic. And I would go up there, and on the way up there or back home from the mountain and back home, I would feel like, okay, yesterday I was sitting at school, we had to do this and this and this, and now this weekend I have the world free from me. I can go to the mountains, I can just I'm able to navigate myself up there and back again. And through storms and wind and, cold periods during the winter time or raining in the summertime. And when you remember those bad or boring or those moments you couldn't find the happiness in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, then you afterwards you will kind of be so thankful for, wow, but I can survive anything. And when you're
Mm.
12 years old and you get that feeling that I'm surviving this by myself, you
Right.
know, then you can just somehow take it into your mentality and do that for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about that. You are 12 years old and you are managing yourself to navigate up to the mountains and back again. It
Yeah.
gives you so much. It feels like you can survive anything.
Superman. Superwoman. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Superwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you think about yourself in that way, of course you can manage anything then.
Yeah. Yeah. It is the
The circumstances never
yes. Yeah.
identify you.
Yeah. That's what I really wanted to get to.
Hmm.
Man, like you're so far ahead of me. It's
No, I'm just up north,
it's
you know. It's the clear vision.
the air is crisp. Yeah.
Exactly.
A lot of fresh air, definitely. No, but it is. Um, people think that we are um, shaped, or people identify themselves with their circumstances, which is it isn't.
Mm-mm.
You know, like it is like the character that you show after, like if you learn from the circumstances, you know, like and like how do you if it's usually like we
Or
need
tackle the
yeah
circumstances or anything. Yeah.
yes you know
How
like
you are moving
yeah
afterwards.
yeah so all these times of adversity that when things do not go your way,
Mm.
how you tackle it or learn from it so that it won't happen again, that is character. That is
Mm.
what shapes you. And like I, I think it's such a important lesson for a lot of people to not and I'm not saying this as a guy that is knows it all,
Mm-mm.
but as a person that has gone through it, as in circumstances have happened and you can dwell on it as in like, oh
Mm.
man, this happened to me and oh my god, I'm
Mm.
such an idiot, I'm or
Or poor me or whatever, you know.
right, you know, like why did this happen to me, oh
Mm.
world, why me, you know,
Mm.
like that's what you can do. And it's I have to say like that's like what people gravitate towards naturally, like oh yeah, why me.
Mm.
And it takes
Mm.
strength, it takes a lot of strength to take a lesson from it and
Mm.
then go from, oh yeah, this happened to me, will not happen to me again because I'm going to do this, or I'm like so you try to use that situation to come out stronger, or
Mm.
learn from it. And I think that is what shapes you. That is what character is. And yeah, it is in a very strange way. I hope, and I have to say this very nuanced, that people experience moments of adversity so that they can, because people always need a moment of adversity to recognize, not recognize themselves, but like to, it's when moments of adversity arise, or when a bad moment arises, that is where when character is tested,
Mm.
you know, and then it's
But
like, yeah,
but in some, not always.
okay, well when
Also, if things are going very well and you are
okay,
just flying,
hmm,
your character is tested.
explain it to me. I think that's a very interesting way of looking at things.
Well, because again, back to the feeling of being grounded, it's
Yeah,
so important.
yeah,
Whenever are you going down or are you up? You have to be grounded.
hmm,
So some people's character will be shown for the rest of the world when things are going good for them,
right,
because they kind of forget the
mm,
rest and are just shining for themselves.
yeah.
You know, have you seen?
personally, as in,
Have you experienced? Do you know anyone who can uh, who can so you can believe on my theory?
have you?
Do you have any examples? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, of course. I have.
I'm trying to think of, because this is a very interesting topic, because like my thoughts have gone for like characters tested through adversity, but not so much from like when things go very well. So, no.
If you're the queen of the earth, king of the earth, whatever.
King of the earth, yeah.
Yeah, king of the earth. Your character is tested. I would say that.
Okay. I can imagine,
because you can go in that on the ego trip, you know, being selfish. That's the other part of the self-awareness, the selfishness, the grabbing for yourself. You are going to have all the money or the good, whatever, power,
right, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying the balance in life have to be there forever. You have to find your balance. You have to know how to ground yourself. Whenever things are going down or up, you have to ground yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be
leveled. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how and this might sound very strange, because how do you ground yourself when you go up or down? Like, when do you find that balance, like that center again?
It's not. I don't have any special trick for doing that, but it's it's mostly like, you know, just comparing yourself. Whenever things are going good, compare yourself with the situations when it wasn't going good at all. You know, because that's the way you can find the. If you're standing here, just look at yourself when you were there, and you will. That will make you balanced.
Right. Yeah.
And also, if you're down, think about the situation you were up there.
Yeah. It's in a way, it keeps you humble.
Exactly.
As in not going. I totally get like where you the balance, when the balancing comes in, like you all right, you know what, this is going shitty, but like, remember, this is what where you're working towards, or now it's very good. Remember where you were a couple of months ago, that was not so good, so you can humble yourself. It's put. So
don't get flying for this. You will go down again. You know. Remember to be positive whenever things are going bad, and be a little bit pessimistic when things are going good.
Okay. Always keep yourself in check. I think that's like right. All right. Keep that equilibrium. Okay. That's a good lesson. Man, I didn't think of it. At least I did think of it that way. And that's the whole thing of this podcast, actually, is that you're thinking the same way, but like you're not able to find the right words to describe it. So the way that you describe it, like, that's what it is. equilibrium, balance, keeping
Yeah.
yourself humble.
Yeah.
And by the way, that so this podcast also keeps me humble in a way. Yeah, that's such a your parents taught you well, and circumstances, and
Yeah, they
you taught
are
yourself
really
well.
two smart people. I
Yeah,
know. I'm
yeah.
thankful for them.
Of
I'm not
course you
saying
know.
I'm a good. I'm not saying I'm any good example in any way, but I think I'm so thankful for the values
Yeah.
they thought. Hmm.
If ever like there's when you talk about values, right? If
Hmm.
let's say you had like a big billboard that every person in Sámi or in Norway could see,
Yeah.
and you talk about values that your parents gave to you, what would that billboard say? What would you
Hmm.
write on that billboard or message?
I was trying to imagine myself.
I wasn't. I was about to say that, like, whatever comes out, you should write it on your wall behind you.
I think so.
Is there any like? It doesn't have to be like. Oh,
I can't. I'm just trying to think about some saying they would say, but there is no such thing. It's more like the character of them is they're just so
what makes your parents
real.
so? Well, like, what makes your parents so? So let me try to dig deep
Yeah.
into that. Try to surface the wording maybe. Um, like, what was the experience or instance that you were like, holy shit, these are awesome parents? I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know how to dig deep, but I'm just I'm gonna ask a question.
That made it even harder. I don't know. I
Shoot.
don't know.
See?
Like the situations. I can't.
Okay.
But if I can say it like this, that when you were like I was like 13 years old, and we have this club for after school, and everyone goes there for dancing or whatever, playing that's ping pong, and just having a good time. And all the kids in my town had maybe not all, but most my friends, their parents had like, okay, you have to be at home 8, and you have to be home at 8. That's the rule.
Yeah.
And my parents, they never said anything about when I should be home. So I remember I used to ask Mom, when should I be home? Because my friend, she's supposed to be at home 8, and the other one can be to 8:30. So when should I come back home? And she was like, what? Why are you asking for that? Well, because isn't that normal? That you know when you should be at home? And my dad says, but Inga, I think you're a smart girl, You understand things, right? Well, maybe, I don't know. But you have to go to school next day.
Yeah.
So you have to think about that. Maybe it's good that you are sleeping in the night, so you're able to go to school the next day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. What are you saying? Well, and before that, it will be okay if you could eat something before you sleep. So, and you have to brush your teeth, and you should probably have some clothes for next day. So you have a lot to prepare before you go to bed.
Right.
So approximately 4 hours before, 3 hours before you're going to bed. When would that be? Well, maybe 8:30. You know, they never are going to say that time when I'm supposed to come home, but they are expecting me to understand my responsibility as a girl for my own life. Is it good for you that you're being out to 11
Yeah.
and coming home that late? Does it feel like that's a smart thing to do?
Yeah.
No, that's not a smart thing to do. I understand. Okay, well, do the thinking for yourself. And, so they gave us kind of freedom and the feeling of responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a trick. Of course, if I was a really rebel, I would have the chance to do whatever I would like to. But I guess they wouldn't do that if they were, after all, they were adults and my parents. So I kind of think they analyzed me and knew that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So probably you won't get that freedom if you're not able to have that freedom.
Yeah.
So often it would be like my friend was going home 8 and I would say, I think I have to be home 7:45. Why? Yeah, because, I have to do some homework. I was so lazy earlier today, so I didn't do my homework. So I have to do that as well.
Yeah.
So then I got in that situation that I own my own time. No one is actually coming with rules for me. So I have to be able to take responsibility for the situations.
Right. It's not a trick, obviously. It's a way of parenting, and
Yeah.
yeah, it is. Such
And then I never got the urge to be a rebel
9,
in
10,
any way.
or
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No.
I saw that wouldn't work out. That would just be problems out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's like the way that I was parented was the total opposite. Actually.
Okay. You're not the only one. I think.
I was like if I was like, if 8 would be the time at the latest that I have to be at home. I better be at home by 8. All right, they told me like be home by 8. If I was even 1 or 5 minutes late, oh man, like, yeah, I would get a.
But the effect of that
discipline.
That way of parenting is that I felt they could trust me so much,
Definitely.
and I would never ever break that trust. Because if I'm going to break that trust, what will the consequences be for me?
Yeah.
I will lose my freedom, and I would never imagine to lose my freedom then.
Yeah. No,
it's like a psychological game.
No, it's the how should I say it? It is giving you the context to make a decision. Giving you the power to make a decision, and they just informing the decision. I'm like, all right, these are the circumstances. You decide. And I think, if I may,
and those 10 minutes or 30 minutes doesn't end. That doesn't make any difference for them.
No, because you made a decision, and you need to know the circumstances, and yeah, if you come in late and then the next morning you're not well rested, that's on you.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
That's on you. It's not on them. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's I don't know, like responsibility is that a value that's is that more
Mm-hmm.
that's your parents instilled on you?
Yeah, they somehow.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine the responsibility now in the back of your office right now as
Yeah.
a neon
Responsible.
sign,
Yeah.
responsible
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
That's one thing.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it's
And
yeah,
freedom is the next one. You know. Or
freedom.
yeah. Or do you have any better synonym or
And
freedom?
these no,
Like.
it's like I think and everything like that is how do you see it and not how do I see it?
Mm.
Because I could come up with a lot of different words. Being the crazy wordsmithing wannabe lawyer that I am, but it is, yeah, freedom and responsibility. So yeah, are words that society nowadays values could the values that people could. Is that what you would put on the billboard? Yeah, it's a very
Well,
corny question.
no.
I know.
But that seems like I was. It seems like it. I'm telling you, it wasn't a prison.
No, no. Punchline is it wasn't a prison, dude. Yeah, no, it's no, totally understandable,
Yeah.
and it's yeah, a lot of respect to you, your parents, siblings. Again, I want your sister on the show as well.
Yeah, you should have her.
Anything that we did not talk about that, but you're like, oh my God, Ghazali, I cannot believe you did not ask me about this. I don't know. Like, we covered a lot of things, but I'm very conscious
Well,
of time.
I'm really happy we didn't. I was thinking, all right, I'm going to talk about the mining and all those negative whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They are so big part of our life now. All the projects, all the extractive activities we have in the Arctic, and
Mm-hmm.
all that issues, all those challenges we are meeting now, especially with the climate changes and all that together. And it's like a big negative package. And I was thinking, oh my God, we're going to talk about that for 2 hours now. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
so
yeah.
looking forward. And now I managed to not talk about that.
Yeah.
I usually do that all the time with anyone else.
Oh, really? Oh.
Mm. So
I see that as a compliment. I don't know, but like I take it as a compliment. As
yeah,
in,
because I feel like I don't have to start to explain all that. It's
yes.
it's a big chapter, and we all know what those problems and challenges contain. So
Yeah.
isn't it so important to talk about that when we can have other conversations instead?
Yeah. And I think thank you so much by the way for saying that, because we easily could have gone into that.
Mm.
One thing, my personal interest is in the person behind the position. So
Yeah.
like the person that like it's, I think that's super important, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
That we do
True.
not get to see the person or talk to the person behind
Mm.
the position. Like, granted, yes, climate change, biodiversity, everything, super important issues.
Mm.
But from my own experience, is that sometimes people just want to talk about stuff
Mm.
and not having to go into some kind of a, not that this is a confrontation, but like you said, put it in it's a negative spiral. Actually, once you go into that, you get to talk about that and then point fingers like, oh yeah, this is the bad guy, that is the bad guy. And if ever there's a billboards on my wall, it would be on inspiring and empowering Indigenous people through the podcast. So I think knowing the people that listen to it, the vast majority already know like the situation of the Sámi and the situation of the copper mines, wind turbines, and everything else. But they just like I want to say like intimate, but really get to know like the person behind the position actually, and I think that is what I'm trying to do, and it's basically actually what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to understand people that I work with, that I look up to, including you. Just so you know.
Thank you.
Including you. And that was way before we had this conversation. And also to keep this conversation, this podcast also keeps me humble, as in because I don't know everything.
No. We never will.
Yes. And we only will know something. We want to by this podcast. I know two things. One, I know a little bit more, and the second thing is, I know that I don't know more. Like I know more. I know more of things that I don't know. You know, like so it's, and I think it's a process. You know, it is. I just want to, and if you want to come up into another episode and talk about turbines and everything else, by all means. I just want this. I want Indigenous peoples to have an outlet, a platform where they can talk for 3 hours or whatever, without having to commercials or talking to sound bites, and just have to take the time to really relax, digest, and then talk about things. And I'm sure that we could talk for hours more, but we'll do that definitely in another episode. Thank you so much for getting on the show.
Thank you, Ghazali.
Really appreciate it.
It was I had a nice time. Nice conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I would do that anytime again.
So what are you doing tomorrow? No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. No. So and
for my sister, she's almost the same. So no.
I don't know. Hey, I don't know. I only know that you guys look alike. The two of you look alike.
We're not the same.
And but the fact that I don't know makes it interesting. She's a very good friend. I consider her a very good friend, even though we don't talk often. And it's not my fault though. But yeah, like I even from close friends through the podcast, I learn a lot more about them. And by learning about them, I also learn a lot about myself. Okay. So this whole therapeutic experience. I think every Indigenous person.
Everybody should have their own podcast.
Yes, and I'm not kidding. Everyone should have their own podcast. Wow.
But you can actually have that without podcasting it.
Yes.
So for
full circle. Yeah.
For all those people who are dreaming of a podcast, just start talking about anything with anyone.
Talk to someone.
You have your own podcast.
You just don't record it, but it will be more interesting as well. Yeah, I just record it. Yeah. All right. Anything? Sorry, that's a very weird way of stopping that whole last part. Yeah. Anything that people should know? Social media? No, you're not using social media as much as you want to. Exactly.
I don't use it as
much. Yeah. this is always the bad thing, like how to end this. No, I just want to say thank you so much for getting on the show.
Thank you for this occasion.
And
And
yeah,
I hope it was worth it. Yeah.
Sis. Oh, come on. This is if like we were talking about balance, right? If this was my expectation, like it's right up there, like how where we got into.
I nailed it.
Nailed it, and nice plant behind you, by the way.
Yeah.
I love that.
Whenever I feel lonely in my office, I just have this, my friend.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that wall. I don't know. Like I should do something with this wall as well. But like that wall.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's a little bit boring back there. So if you're
yours too.
If you're thank you. Thank you. Yeah, but I have a flower here, so it's good.
Yeah, I have my mom's old sweater.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So hopefully next time you have something on your wall and I have something on my wall. Let's aim for that. So a year from now or something like that.
Okay. I can manage it. Yeah.
I'll try. Yeah. I can't make any promises, but I'll try.
But it's more important that you do that because people are supposed to watch your podcast.
I hope they listen. But yeah, they're supposed to watch.
I hope so too.
People are watching, by the way. People watching and commenting as well.
Are
that's
yeah. Hello to everyone.
Yeah.
And have a nice evening. I'm
Ben, Manuel,
out skiing.
Everyone. Like skiing to you is like walking to me. It's like it is.
It is.
Man, yeah. It's raining outside right now, so I'm not going for a walk. Happy ski. How do you say it? Like happy ski. And you enjoy skiing?
It's okay. Happy ski.
All right. Have a great day.
Yo, gitu.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. All right. How do you do?